The Renault Austral has always been one of those cars that did almost everything right and still struggled to be the first name anyone mentioned. It arrived in a segment that was already overflowing, sharing its bones with the Nissan Qashqai and competing against names that families reach for without thinking. So when Renault gave it a facelift after less than 3 years on sale, the question was not whether it would look fresher, it was whether the changes would finally push this French SUV into the conversation it deserves. Standing here in the showroom in this deep iron blue, the answer feels closer than it ever has before. The front is where the update makes its strongest first impression. The new grille uses a three-dimensional diamond pattern that catches the light differently as you move around it, and the Renault badge sits proud in the center rather than blending into the surface. The headlights are slimmer than before, with a sharper signature that gives the whole face a more deliberate, more confident look. There is a detail worth pointing out here that most people will not notice at first. The design language echoes Peugeot more than old Renault's, and that is not an accident. Renault's current head of design spent years shaping Peugeot's look before moving across, and you can see that influence in the way the front end is sculpted. It is a more grown-up face than the car wore before. In profile, the Austral keeps the proportions that always worked. It is a clean, upright SUV shape, with a gently falling roofline that never tips into the coupe styling its bigger Rafale sibling chases. On this Esprit Alpine version, the 20-inch alloy wheels with their diamond-cut finish fill the arches properly, and the black roof and mirror caps give it a sportier stance without shouting about it. The body sides are mostly free of clutter, which keeps the focus on the surfacing and the way the light runs along the doors. Around the back, the changes are subtler, but they matter. The taillights are smaller now and sit further apart, stretched across a panel that makes the car look wider and more planted than the outgoing version. The Austral name is spelled out in clean lettering under the badge, and the e-text script low on the corner quietly tells you this is the full hybrid. It is a tidy, resolved rear end that does not try too hard. The whole car gives the impression of something that has matured rather than reinvented itself, and for an SUV in this class, that restraint is the right instinct. Inside is where the Austral has always been stronger than its reputation suggests, and the facelift builds on that. The dashboard is dominated by the OpenR setup, a 12.3-inch driver display paired with a 12-inch portrait touchscreen that runs Google built-in. That means the maps, the voice assistant, and the app layout are the same ones most people already use on their phones, so there's almost no learning curve. The screen is quick and the graphics are sharp. Below it, and this is important, Renault has kept a row of physical climate shortcuts, so you are not diving into menus every time you want to change the temperature. The material quality is a clear step up. There's a soft woven fabric running across the dashboard and the doors, with a thin strip of ambient lighting threaded through it that glows a cool blue at night. On this Esprit Alpine trim, the seats mix a hard-wearing cloth with darker bolsters and subtle blue and gray detailing, and they feel more supportive than the old car's chairs, which is one of the things Renault specifically set out to improve. The steering wheel is wrapped in a perforated finish with the small Renault diamond at its center, and the column stalks take a little getting used to because there are several of them, but once you learn the layout, it works well. The front cabin treats the driver as the priority without ignoring the passenger. The center console is tall and wraps around you, with a wireless charging pad sitting under a sliding cover that hides the clutter, a pair of cup holders, and a deep storage bin beneath a padded armrest. The little details are the kind owners come to appreciate every time they get in, like the way the armrest itself slides to reveal extra space underneath. If breakdowns like this help you decide what is actually worth your money, subscribe so you catch the next one before you buy. It is a genuinely pleasant place to spend time, and it feels a class above where Renault interiors used to sit. The rear cabin is where the Austral plays one of its best cards, and it is a card the swooping Rafale cannot match. Because this is the more upright, traditional SUV shape, headroom in the back is generous even for taller passengers, and that boxier roofline pays off the moment a 6-footer climbs in. Legroom is good too, held by a clever trick. The rear bench slides forward and back by about 6 inches, so you can choose between stretching out your knees or freeing up extra luggage space depending on what the day demands. The back seats get their own air vents and charging ports, and the door panels carry the same soft materials and blue accents as the front, so it never feels like the cheap end of the car. For a family that actually uses the back seats, this is one of the most usable cabins in the segment. That sliding bench feeds directly into the boot, which is the one area where the Austral asks you to think a little. With the rear seat slid all the way back for maximum passenger room, The full hybrid gives you around 487 liters, which is fair rather than class-leading. Slide the bench forward, and that grows to roughly 555 liters, though you trade away some of that rear legroom to get it. The reason it is not bigger is the hybrid hardware living under the floor, which is the honest cost of the efficient powertrain. But the space you do get is a wide, flat, square load bay that is easy to actually use, with a powered tailgate that opens to a sensible height. Fold the seats down and it opens into a long area that swallows far more than the numbers alone suggest. It is a practical boot, just not a cavernous one, and the flexibility of that sliding bench softens the compromise. Under the hood is the part buyers argue about the most. This is the E-Tech Full Hybrid, built around a small 1.2-liter turbocharged 3-cylinder petrol engine, paired with 2 electric motors and a clutchless multi-mode gearbox. The combined output is 197 horsepower sent to the front wheels, and Renault quotes a 0 to 60 time of around 8.5 seconds. There is a fair objection here, and it is worth saying plainly. A small 3-cylinder engine in a car that can climb toward premium prices strikes some buyers as too modest, and that reaction comes up often. The answer is in how it actually behaves. The electric motors handle low speed, driving almost entirely. The petrol engine stays quiet when it is not needed, and the result is a claimed 60 miles per gallon and a touring range that can stretch beyond 600 miles on a tank. The small engine is not a weakness. It is the reason those efficiency figures look the way they do. There is one change under the skin that deserves a mention because it splits opinion. When the Austral first arrived, the upper trims came with 4-wheel steering, which gave this family SUV a remarkably tight turning circle for threading through city streets and parking structures. With the facelift, Renault simplified the rear suspension on many versions and dropped that system in some markets, which means a slightly larger turning circle than the early cars had. The trade-off is that the revised setup brought extra sound deadening and retuned dampers, so the car is quieter and more settled on a motorway than it used to be. You lose a party trick and gain everyday refinement, and for most owners, that is the better deal. Then there is the price, which is really what the whole car comes down to. There is no American version of the Austral, so for buyers watching from the United States, this is a window into what Europe gets that you do not. In Romania, the full hybrid range opens around 34,600 euros, and this top Esprit Alpine specification sits closer to 43,000 euros, which works out to roughly $50,000 once converted. That places it above the obvious mainstream rivals like the Kia Sportage and the Hyundai Tucson, and it is a number some buyers will resist seeing on a Renault. The counter-argument is everything that comes standard at this trim: the big screens, the Google software, the heated and supportive seats, the camera systems, and the genuinely upmarket cabin. You are paying for content rather than a badge, and whether that makes sense depends on how much the name on the grille matters to you. What the facelifted Austral really shows is a brand that has stopped apologizing for where it sits. It is no longer trying to win purely on price, and it is no longer hoping you overlook the Renault badge. It is asking to be judged on the strength of the car itself, and on the evidence of the cabin, the practicality, and the efficiency. That is a fair request. The Austral was always quietly good. The difference now is that it finally looks and feels like it knows it. For watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and subscribe for more content just like this. Leave a comment below with your thoughts or questions. I read every single one, and don't forget to click the bell icon to get notified about my next upload. See you in the next video.